It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley. As we move into a Friday, where have you folks been? We started our show a long time ago. You guys are just now getting here. What happened?
Well, it was funny because we're starting the show and you're talking to me.
Yeah.
We're doing our pre-show meeting and the music's playing and I have just we wear headphones.
Yeah.
And if you ever see a show or a movie about radio hosts and they're not wearing headphones, it's fake.
Yeah.
But so I've got just one side of the headphones on, so I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you talk. We're not on the air yet. We're just seconds from being on the air.
Yeah.
You're talking to me, and then, without any type of pause, I hear your voice through the headphone. I'm like, oh, we're on the air now.
Yeah.
It's like I got to be careful because I don't know when we're on the air and when we're not off the air, and that can get you in deep trouble if you're a radio talk show host.
Yes, it
big
can.
trouble.
It can get you in deep something.
Yesterday you started the show.
Mm-hmm.
Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't know. Everything runs in.
Asking where the Democrats are going to go in the midterm, what they're going to promote.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Okay.
It's amazing that by the way, I'm very proud that I remember that because typically I wouldn't.
Well, and we were talking about that right before we went on the air. A couple of things. The head of the DNC talking about Mandami and his anti-Semitism, basically. You know, the whole globalize the Intifada, and everything else. And it's like, well, there are things I disagree with, but we are looking to have, because I've been the chief head honcho for the Democratic Party in Minnesota, we like to have a big tent. It's like, oh my God!
Right.
It's like,
would that be a government-owned and controlled tent?
It's just that, and then you put on top of that, and we'll have that audio cut coming up here in a little bit. But I just wanted to lead with that to go to the next thing, which was the ICE raid on the marijuana farm in California, and my God, everywhere I go on social media, the Democrats are talking about illegal immigration as if they have won the argument with almost a confidence that the American people will buy in to their lies. For example, when we talk about the raid, what's being reported on that raid is there was a warrant.
Right.
There was a warrant for the raid, and then let me just get to it here. I saved it on X. This is where Representative Jimmy Gomez. How many MS-13 gang members are waking up at 3 a.m. to pick strawberries? Oh yeah, 0. Trump said he would go after the bad hombres, but he's targeting the immigrant farm workers who feed America. Bill Maluzhin writes, just actively dishonest to keep pushing this narrative when it's been widely reported since this afternoon that this is a criminal warrant being served at a cannabis farm, not farm workers who feed America.
Which means, by the way, the liberals should be more upset.
Right, exactly. Who
it's
cares
weed.
About food?
Oh, my gosh, that's more important than food.
Well, no, the left should be happy because, as we know, growing pot is so incredibly bad for the climate.
Well, now they give that the exemption. That's the one exemption.
Oh, that's the one exemption?
Yeah, the weed exemption.
All right.
You can use as much water as you want.
Well, Bill Maluzhin writes, there's no food being grown here, no strawberries either. And then, as he writes, he goes, to recap, federal agents conduct a massive op at a marijuana farm. Politicians push false narrative of food workers and children are being raided. Feds disclose they have criminal judicial warrant for harboring illegal immigrants. Protester appears to shoot gun at agents. Protesters throw rocks at federal vehicles. 8 unaccompanied migrant children recovered at the cannabis farm. Child labor law investigation now being initiated. Situation is still ongoing and active, and that's from 47 minutes ago. And that is in relation that where he talked about the Border Patrol commissioner and Mnuchin, posted that and then wrote, CBP commissioner reports that 10 illegal immigrant juvenile children, 8 of whom were unaccompanied, were found by federal agents during the operation at the cannabis farm in California, now being investigated for potential child labor violations. And the Democrats are out there screaming, believing they have the high ground. I didn't mean to use the term high, but
that was stone cold.
They believe they have the high ground here, and it's just this week. You and I were we're looking at, it's Friday, and so just wrapping up the week. They just keep upping the insane communist breaking the law narrative as if it's mainstream in America. But the problem is it is mainstream within the Democratic Party.
Yeah. There was another story, and, the headline, you and I always question the headlines, but it was the essential part of the story was guy who's been here for a long time, I would add illegally, is deported. They're doing the Maryland man all over again. And they're going to do this at every turn. Well, he's been here almost a full month. And they're making this case because the guy had been here several years. Oh, I'm sorry. Did immigration law change? And this is what they're doing over and over again. Was it? I got to go back and see if it was either the Washington Post or the New York Times that did this. Trump claimed that foreign gangs were taking over Aurora, Colorado. What really happened? And we just mentioned this. What was it, yesterday or day before?
well, let me now remember. It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Good job. So, score one for Eric and Gary. It's and they're doing that thing again. It's because of the hyperbole involved. Did they actually? And this is what it comes down to. We joke about how, I think we joked about it yesterday. No, most of Aurora was fine. Most of the apartment, it was just 2 buildings in the apartment complex, or it was just one apartment complex. Most apartments in Aurora have no issues whatsoever. But because he used hyperbole, they want to get down to if you do the percentage of it, if you do the percentage on the math of the number of people who are alive right now on the planet Earth, and also add to that the number of people who have ever lived on planet Earth, and then divide that by the number of gang members living in this apartment complex, it's 0.
Well, I think we actually went a little further than that and talked about the fact that not only on the planet Earth, but the solar system and the universe.
Yes.
If you look and encompass the entire universe is mostly gang-free. And so why is Trump focusing on where gangs are causing problems instead of focusing where gangs are not a problem across the entire universe, including Alpha Centauri?
Right. Exactly. And Krypton.
This is right. Well, since the Superman movie's coming out, yes, Krypton.
Krypton.
Krypton was mostly peaceful until the entire planet blew up.
Wait a minute. Zod is also from Krypton.
That's right.
Take that back. Wow. Sorry.
I mean, it's just, I will say this. One of the most fun things is during the day, just when you see everything that happens, And it is, I will call it talk radio Pavlov's dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wake up, I read it, and I start salivating.
Yeah, no,
I can't wait to get in here
Well,
because
that's it.
I can't believe that they're attempting to use these things as an actual legitimate argument.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or debate point. It is nuts.
Well, it's become over and over again the hill they want to die on.
Yeah. And
they're
week
defeated. They're defeated time and time again, and they still want to die on that hill.
And every week there's something new.
Yeah.
But I started thinking, are they going to continue with this all the way through the midterms? Are they going to be the only thing, really, that the Democrats are talking about that's consistent day in and day out is wanting to support illegal immigration, illegal immigrant criminals, and they pound on it each and every day? Doesn't matter. I mean, I think, what's his name? I can't think of his first name. Anton, the polling guy from CNN.
Harry Anton?
Harry, yeah. I think at times he probably was going, guys, the polling is here. Stop it. Stop it. What are you doing? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Right. And again, they take it on as their cause, and their approach is always as if they've already won it. They've already won on the issue. And they don't get it. They just don't get it. They're counting on, and also may be a part of, the willfully ignorant. They're counting on people just looking at, hearing something, or seeing something on their phone flash by in a headline and then running with it. That's what they're counting on. And I also think many of them, and these liberal news organizations, these activists, are also clueless. College degree means nothing. Experience at one of these, I don't know, major news organizations. Can you call them that anymore? I had to hesitate there because I don't think you can. But any of these news organizations, your experience there, it could be for years, doesn't mean you're not clueless.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Barack Obama became president.
Justice Jackson.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think the Supreme Court is there so I can express my feelings.
Right.
That was the best yesterday when I saw that one.
Yes.
I can express my feelings. That's why I like the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mentality you get from somebody, a woman who can't identify what a woman is.
Yeah, exactly.
To the point where the liberal justices are pounding on her going, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
But part of the blame I put on Republicans for not fighting her nomination hard enough.
Oh, yeah. We've been doing that since the beginning.
We were not happy with Republicans when that question was asked, identify a woman, and she couldn't do it. Republicans should have rose up and say, if you can't identify a woman, if you actually are saying you don't know what a woman is, either you're lying under oath or you are completely unqualified to be a Supreme Court justice.
Yep.
Because you cannot rule on any issue regarding women if you can identify women. If they would have done it in unison, they would have forced the mainstream media to confront that.
Oh, yeah.
And every Democrat to confront that, and the Republicans never did that. And if you're a long-time listener of the show, or a medium-time listener of the show, or even a short-time listener of the show, because it wasn't that long ago, you remember us saying that. We were not happy at all with Republicans at that point. They should have just... That was if you're a hungry bear, that was raw meat.
Yes.
Just waiting.
Or for Winnie the Pooh, a pot of honey.
A pot of, yes.
Yeah.
That sounds much better.
Yeah.
I like that better. You're only stealing from the bees.
That's right.
You're not killing
right.
animals.
Yeah, nobody cares about the bees.
Right.
Actually, we do. We need more honey. I know, and also flowers and blah, blah, blah. Don't write me up how important the bees are. I get it. I know. I invest in a lot of honey.
But, yeah, and so being the end of this week, it's just another end of the week where it's like,
Yeah.
wow, are they winning on any issue?
No, they really are insane, and their mind doesn't think properly. Because even politically, how do you not go back to the old playbook of, all right, look, we're going to talk a little softer, and then through action, we'll get our agenda done. Politically, how do you not do that? They are still winning elections, but you would think at some point they'd realize, well, look, we're not going to get the majority of America on these major issues. We're not going to get them. So we just have to go along to get along. But the problem with that is that it's already out. You're already there. I don't know if there's any way to undo what you've done, because it gets back to the Axios story. And 9 lawmakers, all Democrats, telling Axios, 8 of whom would not give them their identity, would not release their identity because they were afraid of their constituents. Their constituents want blood.
Yeah. That, to me, probably you can make the argument was the number one political story of the week without question.
I think so.
Maybe even the month. Political story about where politics is going in this country.
Yep.
Maybe this year. When I'm talking just a political story.
Right. And
because
if you look at the 1 week ago today, the attempt to assassinate law enforcement officials who were unarmed.
Yep.
And then on Monday, the same thing. Well, this has been a crazy week. We've learned a lot about the left.
866-90 Red Eye.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Keep your engine humming in the heat this summer by keeping up with preventive maintenance. Think your PM is complete after your oil is changed? Think again. There's grease, transmission fluids, and gear oil to consider too. Transmission fluid, for example, prevents wear of gears, bearings, and bushings, protects against corrosion, and acts as a heat transfer fluid. You may not think about this every time you get behind the wheel, but as soon as it's not doing its job, you'll notice. Misapplication of transmission fluid can mean reduced fuel economy and abrupt or hard shifts if the static friction is too high. It can also cause sluggish operation at low temperatures if the viscosity is too high and leaking through seals if viscosity is too low.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Just how out of it are Democrats? Wait till you hear about a couple of polls about who Texas Democrats wish to run for the Senate next year against John Cornyn, who actually leads in a poll, and a couple of polls actually out there.
All right.
And I'll say this. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I would not have my current congressperson if she won the Senate race. Oh, did you see, too? Did you see Governor Abbott wants to do mid-decade redistricting?
Oh, yeah.
I
saw that.
Thinks Texas would pick up another, 3 to 5 seats. Does that mean I'd be moved out of Jasmine Crockett's district?
One can only hope.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. So there I am, just looking at my work email, and I see this headline.
Right.
Your membership is pending renewal.
No.
Oh. What membership?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they say pending renewal,
Yeah.
which means I'm already a member, right?
Right.
Here it is. Claim your 2025 membership. Gary, we've called on local Democrats to join this fight as official members of our grassroots movement. But when we checked our records, your name was missing. Pending renewal is flashing at me right now. Donate $10 today and you will receive your very own personalized membership card in the mail. Renew my membership. Renew.
Wait a minute. Is Jasmine Crockett signing you up for stuff?
Well, but they're lying to me.
Yeah.
Do they send this out to everybody? It's like, well, but I'm not a member. What do you mean renewal? I'm not a member.
I think they're counting on people to not remember. Did I sign up for that? That night I was up drunk and also ordering things on Amazon. I guess I must have signed up for it years ago.
Renewing your membership is the most impactful way to support Democrats all year long.
Uh-huh. Is it?
If you've stored your payment information with us, your donation will proceed immediately. Now, they sent it to my work email. Just said, this is my work email.
Right, yeah.
Right, so
I was getting some, and I got some from both parties. And from the right, it would be from Ted Cruz. But it was actually from, the Republican Party of Texas or whoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from the left, it would be, and this is where they went wrong. It would be something like, from Jasmine Crockett or from Nancy Pelosi. It's like, delete. I don't care. Not happening.
Oh, I've been getting in my work email a ton of Jasmine Crockett's.
Yeah.
And I didn't just...
I blocked all those.
I didn't because I want to see what she's saying, how she's marketing it.
Right.
I mean, she is my congressperson.
Well, are they so desperate right now? There's a disclaimer on it. By not clicking on this email, by not clicking on the link, you're automatically renewing.
And by the way, I hate all of our listeners that each and every day I at least get one Jasmine Crockett story.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
Whoever sends it is, I know, having the time of their life.
Yes. Also making money from me. So that's, that's a good
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's just so funny. I mean, memes, you name it.
Yeah.
Ever since I announced months ago that, it came up somehow, and I went, well, my congressperson is Jasmine Crockett.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I didn't bring it up like a year ago or 2 years ago. I just didn't.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it came up one day, and it's like, no way. And I said, well, how can that be? And it's like, well, because they changed my district. I think you and I were talking about it off the air, because didn't we share the same congressperson at one time?
We did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Republican.
It was years ago, but it was Kenny Marchant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, one day, it's like, who am I voting for here? Where's the Republican? There's no Republican. There's just a Libertarian. And then Jasmine Crockett, I went, oh, that's right. They redistricted, and I'm in a Democrat district now.
Yeah.
By 3 blocks. But that being the case, this from Newsweek, recent polling shows that Representative Jasmine Crockett, a Texas Democrat, is at the forefront of likely Democratic voters' preferences in the race for the U.S. Senate seat that will be up for grabs in Texas in 2026. This is Cornyn's, John Cornyn's seat. The 2026 Texas Senate race is viewed as pivotal by both parties. Blah, 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 blah. They talk about, Ted Cruz and Beto and Colin Allred and whatever. Flipping the seat would held by Republican Senator John Corner will represent a major political shift in the state and nation. Crockett has not yet declared a run for the Senate, but she has been viewed as a rising star in the Democratic Party on the national stage. Remember, we even got some pushback from Democrats saying, well, you guys are saying they're not the leaders of the party. We went, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Bernie Sanders, AOC,
yes,
Crockett, they all are.
Yep.
And here we go. Let me find it here. Crockett leads with 35% support among surveyed Democratic voters in the state of Texas, ahead of Colin Allred by 20%, with Beto O'Rourke and Texas Representative Joaquin Castro both at 13%, according to the survey. The poll. Now, the poll was done by the National Republican Senatorial Committee. I believe it was an internal poll that the Daily Caller got a hold of. O'Rourke and Castro have not yet declared their candidacies, but both remain possible entrants. 18% of respondents are undecided. Newsweek reached out to Crockett's office for comment. The poll, initially obtained by the Daily Caller, surveyed Democratic primary voters and was conducted July 4th through the 7th. Crockett's margin against her Democratic counterparts far exceeds the poll's margin of error of plus or minus 3%. Crockett also was the top choice for shared values in another poll among likely Democratic voters in a University of Texas at Tyler poll conducted May 28th through June 7th, garnering 30% support. However, when respondents were asked who had the best chance of defeating a Republican, Colin Allred edged into the lead at 34% versus Crockett's 27%. Allred lost to Ted Cruz by 9 percentage points in November. He has positioned himself as a potential nominee with broader general election appeal. He doesn't, by the way. And they say, especially if Paxton prevails in a contentious Republican primary to unseat Cornyn. Well, that could all go to hell now after yesterday's news.
Yeah.
Where his wife implied, everybody is, by what she said.
Yeah,
they're getting
some
a
details
divorce.
we don't have, but
They're getting a divorce because of, wants a divorce because of biblical concerns. And you see most people out there saying, okay.
Or biblical reasons.
Biblical reasons, right.
Yeah, based on some new discoveries.
Right.
And we don't know what that means.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's on social media and what Democrats are pounding on is that, they're making the claim he cheated on her.
There was a story about an affair which goes back to his scandal a couple of years ago.
Yes.
So I don't know if this is
the same thing or not.
The same thing or some, she did mention a new discovery, but she didn't expand on it. So. Yeah.
So there you go. What people are saying, everybody's doing Axios now. What people are saying, they actually have Why It Matters. Ken Wink, UT Tyler professor and interim Center for Opinion Research director, told Newsweek in June, my assessment is Texas is still a red state. That doesn't mean that it's impossible for Democrats to win, but they don't have a very good track record. My point is, I think our point would be the fact that Jasmine Crockett leads in any type of poll.
Yeah.
No matter what the question is with Democrats, shows you what we've been saying all week. Because it used to be, the Democratic Party doesn't represent where the voter is.
Right.
Yeah, it does. Where the Democratic voter is. The Democratic voter has become, as we know, less patriotic, more anti-Semitic, more insane in the things that they actually believe.
Oh, yeah.
Across the board.
Yep.
Illegal immigration, the radical transgender movement, they haven't backed off at all on it. And it also shows, this. You take this story combined with the story from Axios earlier this week. And if you haven't heard it, we'll tell you about it again, because I think it's one of the biggest stories, political stories of the year, about where politics is going in this country. And that's, you had Axios reach out to dozens of Democrats in Congress to comment about what's going on in their party, and 9 responded.
Yeah.
8 of them anonymously.
Right. Yeah.
And what Axios and the members of Congress, the Democrat, liberal members of Congress, were saying is that the people that vote for them, that show up at their town hall meetings, that communicate with them, they want blood. They're not electing their members of Congress to legislate. They want them to challenge and assault law enforcement and get arrested.
Yeah.
Now, this comes from Axios, which is a liberal publication, quoting,
which is why it matters.
Yes, exactly. Quoting what Democrat members of Congress are saying about their own constituents. Mm-hmm. So you take that and you look at those 2 different polls that say, hey, a plurality of Democrats, even in a primary in the state of Texas, relate more to Jasmine Crockett than any other Democrat, is just another little piece of evidence showing where the Democratic Party is going.
Yep. No, it is. I used the word radical multiple times a night. It's probably become a drinking game for some. Every time I say radical, I shouldn't say radical if it's a drinking game, because every time I say radical, that means people drink, which means when they hear radical, they're getting drunker. So I should stop saying radical. But it's beyond that. Remember Scorched Earth? I'm old enough to remember Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth was easy. I could wrap my brain around Scorched Earth. These people are nuts.
Yeah, I know. You can't make this up. And we talked this week about about radicalism, and we every time that I've ever been called you're just a right-wing radical, as I've always said, and because I've been in this business such a long time, I've said, tell me the topic where I'm a radical.
Right.
Tell me the issue that I'm a radical.
Right.
And as we have said, when we get attacked, most of the time, the vast majority of time when we get attacked, it's about things that we have never said.
Yep. And
don't even believe.
Right.
It's like, well, no, we never said that, and we don't believe that.
Right.
And it's quite amazing, but every time, and so we're talking, what is it now? What is it? 36. I'll complete 36 years first week of October in talk radio, but been in the business, 43, 44 years now? Wow. God, I'm old. And every time I've been called, every single time I've challenged them and said, tell me one issue that I'm a radical. Nobody can say it. It's so easy with the Democrats.
Right.
It's absolutely pure insanity. And I just hope the Republican Party between now and next November take advantage of it and are on the attack.
Yeah.
You don't need to be defensive about anything anymore. Attack.
Yep.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Climate change. People aren't buying into it. CNN doing more polling on it. We'll get to that following the top of the hour because that's just hilarious. The Democrats and illegal immigration. More on the raid of the cannabis farm yesterday. We started off the show with it, but we'll get into the specifics of it.
Yeah.
We'll have the audio from the DNC chair that shrugs off Commie Mayor Mandami's refusal to condemn the Globalize the Intifada slogan here. Why? Because they have a big party. And, of course, well, the big party is identity politics, which is racism.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, of course, really no problem there.
Right.
We'll get to that all on the way.
Top of the hour news is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA. We are Red Eye Radio. I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley. Good morning. Made it to a Friday. Woohoo! You know, yesterday we, right at the end of the show, we brought you the story about Kamala Harris, who was interviewed for a podcast, and it was so bad that both parties agreed that they shouldn't broadcast it.
Yeah.
And was it an X or something? No, was it a TikTok or something interview, whatever? And here's the Fox News story on it from yesterday, okay? It's
right.
not long. It's very, very short. Here we go.
He interviewed former presidential candidate Kamala Harris before the election last year, but it was never posted because it was too cringeworthy.
Her take was really confusing and weird and not good. And so mutually agreed that we shouldn't publish it.
I see.
And I got lucky because I didn't want to be blamed for her losing.
Her take was that bad?
It was really, really bad, and it was like didn't make any sense. I can tell you, it was bacon as a spice. Bacon as a spice.
The host, who is Muslim and does not eat pork for religious reasons, says he was taken aback. The Harris campaign reportedly apologized and offered to refilm the episode, but the host declined.
It's supposed to be like your hot take of the day, and her hot take was bacon as a spice.
I don't even know what that means.
Neither do I. Neither do they.
Bacon as a spice.
No, nobody understood it. It was like the interview was cringeworthy.
Wait a minute. Was Bacon Spice that one Spice Girl who didn't fit in with the rest?
The one we liked, yes.
Yeah.
Bacon Spice.
She was more of a farm girl. Got kicked out of the band early on.
Oh, my God.
I think that's who that was, Bacon Spice.
I love that story.
If I remember correctly.
Absolutely love that story. I mean, it just shows you how bad the Democratic Party is. She just couldn't sit down and do an interview. Last year it didn't matter for president. Didn't matter whether you had whether you had medical cognitive problems or non-medical cognitive problems.
Well, that's it.
She couldn't do an interview. She couldn't do anything ad lib. And think about this. This was the best that the Democrats could offer, and now they're worse.
Well, the Biden administration, go back to the Obama administration. Barack Obama, smartest man in the room. Biden administration, the smartest man in the room is the auto pen. It's really, really bad. And think about if she had actually, and I don't think she ever would have done it. She set Rogan up to make sure that
he wasn't going to meet her demands, her campaign's demands.
Right, exactly.
It was an impossible ask, is what they call that. And they do that because she didn't want that to happen, because that's a 3-hour deal. He doesn't even edit for bathroom breaks if a guest needs to get up and go to the bathroom. You're there. There's no editing. Sit down, start rolling, you're there. And it could be 3 hours. Oh, my gosh. 3 hours of that. Think about that. That would have been so horrific.
I don't know how long that interview was supposed to be on the TikTok interview, but the guy does the interviews based on what's your hot take, which, of course, I hate that term.
Yeah.
Eric, what's your hot take today? Gary, what's your hot take?
Now, bacon is a condiment, yes. A spice, no. That's stupid.
What's my hot take?
Yeah.
You know something that's almost as bad as I hear this in the media once in a while. The top 5 things you need to know.
Yes.
There might only be 2.
Right.
You're setting a limit, or you're going to throw in.
They're still doing the what you need to know. Here's what you need to know. Yes. Really? Is it? Is that all I need to know? Like Brian Regan joking about the time they lost his luggage, and they give him a little overnight kit that says essentials on it. And he looks at it and he looks down and he goes, "Oh, those are the essentials. I had it wrong. I thought the essentials were in the luggage that you lost."
Jeez.
Here's what you need to know. Here's what you need. Here's all you need to know. I think there's 6 things. There's only 5.
Why it matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're an idiot.
Right.
I just can't tell you the news and give you my opinion. I have to tell you, why Eric's opinion matters.
I would have done that in a question form instead. It was like, does it matter? That's up to you.
But who came up with that kind of stuff? Because you and I would never come up with that kind of stuff to sit there and say, what's your hot take? The top 5 things that you need to know about. Who are these people who are coming up with these limitations or conclusions that they need to tell you why something matters? Mm-hmm. They need to tell you the 5 things that make this story important.
Here's what you need to know.
I mean, it's almost as if, look, our audience is a bunch of idiots, so we have to explain everything to them.
Yeah, first of all, it isn't about the why in terms of if it matters. It's really about, if it matters at all. And only the individual can determine that. Does it matter? I don't know. You tell me.
I just love that.
Yeah.
I mean, it actually sort of drives me nuts
once
in a while. But
man, I wish that interview were available.
Yeah, you know something? Put it on demand. I'll pay $5 for it.
I was going to say, I have to be in the mood for stuff that's really cringe, but for the sake of the job. See, that's what we do here. We do it for our listeners. We'll do it for the sake of the show. Because it's got to be so bad. By the way, bacon as a spice probably isn't the worst part of it.
No. Now, was he saying it because he's Muslim and he was offended by it?
I don't know.
Is that what made it cringeworthy?
I don't know.
Yeah, we need why it matters that we need more information. Our entertainment purposes only.
Exactly. Well,
that's why it matters to us.
I want to, I'd love to just listen to it, watch it, and see. I would love everybody to be able to watch it. That's the thing. J.D. Vance goes anywhere and sits down with the media. He has no problem. Ramaswamy, same thing. Trump. You know, we've said for years, going back to his first term, to a fault, he talks to the media.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not, it doesn't matter what you're going to talk to them about. How many press conferences has Trump had just in his second term so far in the Oval Office?
I like when the Republicans who actually almost have like a stopwatch, and it just in Trump's press conference today equaled 5,320 press conferences.
Yes,
that Biden gave.
Well,
all right, I'm exaggerating.
Well, but remember the one thing they did? I forget what it was, but then at the end they said, "Hey, everybody, go outside. There's fireworks." Remember that? They actually had fireworks outside and drew the media out of the room to go watch the fireworks outside. And if I remember correctly, that wasn't even at night.
I don't remember that.
Yes. They were rushing everybody out the door. Oh, you don't remember that?
During the day?
I think it was during the day. If it was at night, that would, first of all, that would be a bad time for Biden to be doing anything. We already know that. Oh, I can't believe you don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't.
They were rushing everybody outside. Hey, everybody.
I mean, I remember
look outside.
I remember they rushed people outside on a consistent basis. But
well, yeah,
I just don't remember the fireworks.
Yeah, it was really wild. And the Trump thing is like, they're all sitting there going, well, Mr. President, we have to go now. No, wait, I have more.
Well, I mean, as you said, to a fault. I mean, when he got to the point the other day and said, he didn't know. Please, I don't know who paused the weapons to Ukraine. Why don't you tell me? That was a bad moment. Those are the unscripted moments that aren't good.
Yeah,
for Trump when he did something like that.
Right.
Sorry, you're commander in chief. And the thing is, this was how many days after that story came out, and after he had already said that once. And then he said it a second time.
Yeah.
That wasn't good.
Right.
And so, at times to a fault. Nothing fatal, though. I mean, nothing there was fatal.
Well,
it's just,
no, I mean, it's, again, we've said you got to know when to cut it off. Again, if you've got Pete Ducey over in the corner falling asleep, all right, it's probably the time to call it a day.
But this was a highlight of an audio cut that I liked. Because finally, Scott Jennings may have done it before, but this is the first time that I remember doing it like he just did on Fox News the other night, where he called Representative Richie Torres, said, "You're a liar."
Yeah.
And we've said you need to start being blunt if you're Republicans. And this is where they're still on the big, beautiful bill and still trying to defend illegal immigrants, people who don't want to work. They keep defending them getting Medicare. Oh, I'm sorry. I was Joy Behar for a moment. Medicaid.
Yeah.
By the way, I did that on purpose, just so you know. She didn't know the difference between Medicaid and Medicare. God,
yeah.
It's just bad. We played that audio yesterday. But here's Scott Jennings. Listen to this back and forth. Here we go.
Political analysis is wrong. I don't think it's unpopular at all to try to reform an entitlement program, to save it for the people who need it, to keep illegal aliens from getting welfare benefits they shouldn't be getting, to encourage people to go to work. I don't think these things should be shied away from by Republicans.
None of that is true. First of all, I think Medicaid
It's exactly true. It's exactly what's in the bill.
Federal law prohibits undocumented immigrants
then why are
from receiving Medicaid
1.4
benefits.
million on it? Why are
That's a
1.4
figment of your
million?
imagination.
It's a figment of the CBO's documents.
Let me explain the facts.
It's in the CBO documents.
I'll explain the facts.
Is it or not?
Let me explain. It's not, actually.
No, you are lying.
No, that is not. It is not true.
Okay, hang on a
You're
second.
inventing facts out of thin air. So Medicaid is.
Hold on, guys.
Medicaid.
State program.
Medicaid.
Hold on.
Medicaid is the most popular program after Social Security and Medicare. So $1 trillion cut to Medicaid, which is what Republicans just did, is not only bad morals and bad economics, it's bad politics. Medicaid is actually more popular than you, Scott Jennings. It has 70% approval rating among Republicans.
How do you know what my approval
more than
rating
80% among independents, more than 90% among Democrats. It's political suicide for Republicans
I think
to get
it's political
Medicaid.
suicide to come on as a member of Congress and lie about what the CBO says.
So the majority of
people
who benefit from Medicaid are senior citizens and those with disabilities. Almost
Yeah,
all
I disagree
Medicaid
with
funding goes toward the elderly, the disabled, children, and working adults.
As you notice, he won't address the actual topic at hand. I mean, that's the best. It's really, I never thought when I first started out in talk radio that you would have a major political party that could not make an argument on any topic.
Yeah, right.
Now, what's happening, as we know in these states, is the states are initially paying the Medicaid that goes out. When the federal government sends them money, they're taking that money and using it to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they stopped.
Yeah, right.
If you're going to do that, then you don't get the money.
Right.
So it's where the state initially pays it off, then takes the federal dollars and uses that to supplement it. So they're claiming, well, it doesn't happen. Well, yeah, it does happen. Here's how it's happening. And the Republicans were clear on it. And the CBO is the one that came out and said, nope. You've got was it 1.4 million illegal immigrants that actually get federal dollars are paying for their Medicaid. He wouldn't address that. He just said it didn't exist. He goes, here it is.
Yeah.
Well, then say the CBO is wrong because of this, 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 this. He went on to say senior citizens, well, no. Senior citizens get Medicare, idiot.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know the difference between Medicaid and Medicare either.
Right.
He's a member of Congress.
Right.
And it's just, you think about it right now. I mean, this is just one of those weeks. And I never think. I mean, here I am on a Friday saying they can't be any dumber.
Yeah,
and then I
can.
think, we have a bunch of shows to do next week. What am I going to be saying next Friday?
Well, and, we're only not even 2 hours into Friday in the Central Time Zone. There's a lot of Friday left for them to get even more stupid.
Oh, yeah, and we'll have the audio coming up here.
Yeah.
But I look at that, but the reason I played it, what impressed me was Jennings being blunt, saying, you're lying. You're a liar. Not you have misinformation.
Yeah.
Be blunt. Say you're a liar.
Right.
There's no way you can watch that. And if you watched it, you see Scott Jennings pointing at him, just mouthing, going, liar, liar, liar.
Yep.
And when you hear the audio, he's saying liar. It's underneath all the chatter back and forth. But when you're watching it, you can see him pointing his finger and just going, liar, 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 liar.
Yep.
And he was right. But it's like the Democrats can't make an argument for anything right now.
No, they can't.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Surviving and thriving as an owner-operator has just as much to do with managing costs as it does with generating revenue. Understanding basic principles of operating costs can save you thousands of dollars a year. Costs are not the same each month. If 9,600 miles are driven one month and 10,000 miles the next, two different sets of costs apply for each month. For example, if your tractor payment is $1,850 per month and you drive 9,600 miles in the month, your tractor payment is costing you 19.3 cents per mile. Drive 10,000 miles, though, and that same payment will cost you 18.5 cents per mile. This is one of your major fixed costs while paying off a truck loan. The difference in this example is only a fraction of a cent, which may seem like small change, but it ultimately amounts to $960 more annually on the bottom line. Because though fixed costs do not go down over time, you can reduce your cost per mile with more paid miles. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Carney, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up following the bottom of the hour, the CNN poll on climate change.
Well,
we'll get to that. And I love this headline. Canadian police official warns that traditional values may be a sign that a person is becoming extremist. So apparently, well, this would mirror where the Democrats are right now. If you have extremist views, that shows you're not an extremist. If you do not have extremist views, that shows you are an extremist.
Yes. And the more you say you're not an extremist is further proof that you're an extremist. In fact, denying your extremism is extremism. It's the extremist of all the extremism.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Carney, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. We make it so simple for you.
We do.
All right, so here we go. This is Harry Enton, CNN. I've noticed, since the Texas flash floods, that Al Gore's been out there almost every day posting about climate change. And I think twice this last week, because he doesn't get as many responses as you'd think. You would think he would get tens of thousands.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah. Right.
I remember the one that I actually commented on, I think he only had 46 at that point. I went, oh, okay, maybe he'll check it out and see this one. Because nobody remembers this except you and I.
Right.
And we bring it up on a consistent basis. The first thing that Al Gore really fought, the first big movement in this country to stop climate change was ethanol.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was actually W who signed the legislation.
Mm-hmm.
Believe that would have been December of 2007 that he signed it. By March of 2008, this is what happens when you don't live in the bubble of today and you actually have your cognitive abilities. You can go back and remember big moments. Is when the left came out and said, oops, we made a mistake. Ethanol puts the whole process of farm to tank puts more global warming gases into the atmosphere. Oops.
Yep.
But remember when W signed it and we went, why? And that was one of the things that we disagreed with, and a lot of people disagreed with it at that point. But Al Gore, all the way back to the late 90s, he was pushing ethanol.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, it was, I believe it was it 2010, where he came out and he admitted that he lied about ethanol. And he lied to get votes.
Yep.
And so I make sure that I always put that down there. So I have responded. I went, from the man who admitted that he lied about ethanol in order to get votes.
Yeah, Al Gore from, what's the date line on this? I know it's from 2010.
2010, yeah.
November 22nd of 2010. Here's the headline from the very conservative NBC News. Al Gore, votes, not science, led me to back corn ethanol. Al Gore said he made a mistake. It was a mistake, Gary.
No, he lied.
Just a mistake. It was an accident.
He lied.
In supporting corn-based ethanol
while he was in office, admitting he was more interested in farm votes. What? Really? For his presidential run than what was best for the environment. Of course, years later. Can't do that on the campaign trail. Hey, I'm lying to you, but this ethanol stuff is great.
Well, and nobody responds ever when we bring this. Gosh, for years we've been bringing it up. No Democrat ever responds ever on it, and which has made us ask this question on a number of issues, but specifically right now for climate change. Al Gore lied about it. Was there ever any backlash from the climate change folks? Was there any backlash from Democrats? Was there any fury? Was there anybody taking him to task on the left? No. And I say that because then we can move forward all the way to the first week of when Joe Biden became president of the United States. And I think it was day one. I believe it was day one. He stopped the Keystone XL pipeline. Yeah. And so that's when you had his Secretary of Transportation, his climate czar, John Kerry, and his energy secretary, right? All said, well, no, if your goal is to reduce global warming gases into the atmosphere because you wish to stop man-made climate change, you would keep the Keystone XL pipeline open. You wouldn't close it.
Yeah.
And so those are just two examples, and there was no fury at all from the left or the climate change people, which leads us right to this question before we even get into the polling that CNN did. When it comes to climate change, does anybody on the left really care about it? Or is it just setting the image that you care, even if the things that you believe do the opposite of what you want done?
Right.
Because there's no outrage. It's like, hey, what's going on? Well, wait a minute. You lied about ethanol? I mean, we spent a decade talking about ethanol and it was a big lie? What? What are you doing, Biden? You're laying off tens of thousands of people on the Keystone XL pipeline to put more global warming gases into the atmosphere? There was none of that.
They can learn to code.
Right, you can learn to code. And there was no outrage. There was no blowback from anybody, which takes us to the point of asking the question, do Democrats actually care about anything? Or is it all the image of doing something, the virtue signaling of doing something, even if what you are promoting does the opposite? And this is why it gets crazy on a Friday here. This is why our minds go, what the hell do they want? What is actually their goal? But you will actually be for the behavior that does the opposite of what you want, because the bizarro pretend narrative is it does the opposite of what it actually does.
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
This is harder than doing a damn calculus problem.
Why can't they just own it? I mean, it's Al Gore. It took him 10 years, and he admits he was trying to appease farmers in his home state of Tennessee that he lost, by the way. And it's and he's still the godfather of the environmental movement. Still seen as the voice of.
Yes, I know.
Wow. A convenient lie.
Yeah,
that's what he had to tell.
Hey, I can't wait till that book comes out, A Convenient Lie.
I want to see that documentary.
Well, he gets blasted on social media. He just gets blasted.
Right.
But here's Harry Enton talking about the poll, that the CNN poll that Americans aren't concerned about climate change. He doesn't sound happy about it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Are Americans afraid of climate change? And the answer is Americans aren't afraid of climate change. Climate activists have not successfully made the case to the American people. I want you to take a look here. Greatly worried about climate change. We have data going all the way back since 1989. Look at that. It was 35%. 2000, 40%. 2020, 46%. And 2025, 40%, which is the exact same percentage as back in 2000. Despite all of these horrible weather events, the percentage of Americans who are greatly worried about climate change has stayed pretty gosh darn consistent, which kind of boggles the mind a little bit. Granted, everything that we see on our television screens, our computer screens, the hurricanes, tornadoes, the flooding, but yet greatly worried about climate change, 40% in 2025, the exact same percentage as back in 2000.
I got to find the extended one of that, because the extended one, that was the short one. I got to find the extended comment where they talk about the fact that, well, most people don't believe they're ever going to be affected by it at all, which, of course, is what the activists have been trying to tell you for the last, well, I don't know, 40, 50 years. I'm trying to think of when the exact moment we went from global cooling to global warming to then climate change.
Yeah.
But it's very simple if he wants to know why. We just gave you two examples of why.
Yeah.
The leadership of the global warming movement, right out of the box, lied to the people that they were trying to convince, or the people that they had convinced that global warming was a problem.
Right.
Al Gore did that.
Right.
And then you saw what Biden did with the Keystone XL pipeline, even though the most liberal climate change people said, no, don't do this, and there was no blowback at all.
Right,
Nobody cared. Not one climate activist came out screaming about it. In fact, I believe all those three were asked the question about it. They didn't volunteer it.
No.
They didn't come out in anger saying this is horrible what the president is doing. They just said, well, you know, it probably, if you had the pipeline, it would be better because it's better than moving it by truck or train. It's like, duh. And the fact is he killed tens of thousands of union jobs and put more climate change gases into the atmosphere from the Democratic standard.
Yeah.
From the liberal standard.
Right.
And there was nothing. The other thing is all the apocalypse scenarios that the left has thrown out for the last 50 years that have never come true. That when you keep throwing out that the world's going to end and it doesn't, look, even Greta isn't on it anymore.
No, she's not.
She thought she was going to be dead by now. Remember when she was part of the group that was at the White House? And they started talking to all these young girls who said, well, it doesn't matter, you know, what do you want to do for your career? They go, it doesn't matter. We're not going to be around.
Yeah, we're sitting around in classrooms wondering why we're here in a classroom because we're not going to need any of this.
Yeah. Why do we have to go to school when we're all going to be, basically we're going to be dead?
Yeah.
The world's going to be over.
Right.
Well, she's not even involved that much in it anymore because she said, look, this isn't working. What can I find? What can I find that I can convince the American public of? Oh, Jewish hatred. Yes.
There you go.
There's a direct line. Climate change, saving the planet.
Well, she
hate the Jews.
Make the case. You could make the case. In terms of the anti-Semitism, she has more supporters. She went with something that raises her profile on the left.
She had to find something that the left was in agreement with.
Yes.
So it's like climate change. They're not even buying anymore. Okay, what are they buying into? Oh, Jewish hatred.
That's right.
Let's go for that.
Let's go for that. Seems to be the thing. Wow. How dare me? Grow up.
How dare you not support Hamas?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a boat that has sails but a diesel engine to take me where the problem is.
It's a wind-powered diesel engine.
Wow.
You know they floated that in a conversation. Can we call it a wind-powered diesel engine? No.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. You know what I loved yesterday? You see people covering the Susie Wiles interview, and she said, you know, the problem is Trump has so much energy, the young people can't keep up with him. Oh, so you get it.
Yeah.
I burst out laughing.
Yeah.
You know, comparing that, her making that statement
right.
to the statement being made last year about Joe Biden. Oh, the young people can't keep up with him. He's just, but with Trump, it's true.
No, somebody in the liberal media made the case when he did the Middle East trip. And this was pre-bombing, of course. But when he made the Middle East trip, somebody in the liberal media said it's refreshing. I think the New York Post actually did a story on this saying it was anonymous members of the liberal activist media. Oh, no. It was people who had worked at the Biden White House saying it was refreshing to see a president who could do that, who could had that kind of stamina.
Yeah. You're right.
Well, I'm 20 years younger than Trump. There's no way in the world I could keep up. I mean, his schedule is nonstop. You know, it's just around the clock.
And you hardly sleep at all, too.
I sleep about the same amount of time he does. True story.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
We are all across the United States of America. We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley. I'm Gary McNamara. Each and every night, I'm telling you, we are in the pursuit of happiness and entertainment.
That's true.
And my God.
Our own.
It
has nothing to do with the audience.
Well, no, we hope you come along with us on it.
Yeah,
you know.
We're not going to force you, but we think you should.
Yeah. And by the response I get, you're not only going along with it, you're adding to it.
Yeah.
With this stuff. I just love it. I'm telling you, I smile every time a listener sends me a meme or something concerning Jasmine Crockett.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that our listeners are getting much too much enjoyment of my suffering that she's my congressperson by 3 blocks.
Yeah. You can see it from where you can see the freedom from where you live.
I don't know if I told you.
You can see you can see Russia from your backyard, like Sarah Palin said. You can see freedom from your backyard.
It was before vacation. I think it was an email that I got, and just died laughing. It was a local realtor offering me, saying, well, I'd be willing to move you.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I appreciate it. I'm not moving. And since I did hear, I just saw the headline yesterday that Governor Abbott is thinking of doing redistricting early.
Yeah.
doing it here at the midterm because the population has increased so much in Texas.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely make the case that there's a huge shift for sure.
And saying, there's I like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 more congressional districts. Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that can get me out of Jasmine Crockett's district.
Maybe.
By 3 blocks.
Maybe.
I'll be riding my bike tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And what I do now is I get up really early because it's starting to get hot here. Not as hot as it has been. I keep getting, looking at Facebook history on this day. It was like last year. It was like 104, 106, 109. And I'm like, this is great. We're in the mid-90s.
Right, yeah.
This is like...
Well, I think Sunday we're supposed to be 88, 89.
Yeah. If this... And chances of rain all weekend.
Yeah, which usually by July it starts to dry up.
Mm-hmm. But if we're talking about... And I looked at the long-range forecast for 2 weeks. Now, again, it isn't accurate really past 7 days.
Right, yeah.
They more look at the averages, but there's nothing over 100. And if we get to August before it hits 100, that's like no summer at all here in North Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, whoa, man, global cooling. What the heck's going on here?
No, I mean, when we have temperatures at night still in the 70s, that's how you know. There's a heat alert day if we don't drop below 80 at night. Then they put out the extreme heat alert thing, and we're in the upper 70s, mid 70s.
It's incredible. But I ride the bike early in the morning.
Yeah,
like Saturday morning and Sunday morning, I'll probably be up at 4 a.m. and I'll be on the bike at 4:15. It's completely dark out, but again, I love my headlight. My headlight and my back flashing light. I sort of do look like an emergency vehicle.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool out. It's a great way to start. But every time I did it, and I was out of town. No, last weekend I did it. Yeah, that's right. I did it last weekend. I was on vacation still. But I rode early in the morning, and I was riding right down the road, right down the boundary line road between Jasmine Crockett's district and then the Republican district next to me. I'm riding down the road saying, people on this side right there, Jasmine Crockett. On this side, I don't know what district it is on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But it was like, wow.
Well,
how do these things happen to me?
Yeah, it's like being in State Line, Nevada, and South Lake Tahoe.
Yeah,
State Line is actually on the Nevada side, then South Lake Tahoe is on the California side. It's a sidewalk right next to one of the resorts that separates the two. I mean, it is a state line, and so. There's a picture of me and my brother-in-law, and I'm on the California side. He's on the Nevada side. And I think there's a real cultural shift when you cross that sidewalk.
Well, it wasn't hard to figure out. I mean, your brother was on the American flag side, and you were carrying what? Soviet Union flag?
I was. I'll tell you what I wasn't carrying. Single-use containers. They'll send in a SWAT team. How dare you?
So yeah, the weather's been great, which means, and we've had plenty of rain. We're like 8 or 9 inches over normal, which is great for us. In fact, a lot of people that come to Texas in the summertime always say when they land at DFW, "Wow, it's always brown." It's not now. You look down, you see the brown grass. Not now.
Yeah.
I did, though, get, for the first time, I don't remember the last time. I was cutting my grass yesterday, and my grass is really thick, and it's been raining. And even though I put on I love it. Because every time I get fire ant killer, it's like 6 months. Doesn't last 6 months.
No.
I put it on I put fire ant killer on about 2.5 months ago. Then I put on the general bug killer about probably a month ago. But that also kills fire ants.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as effective as just the regular granules.
Right.
And man, I was on the lawnmower and my grass is really high and thick. I keep it that way.
Right.
And I said, boy, that's really soft. My foot sort of sunk in. I walked 5 feet later. Ow!
Yeah.
There they are. I mean, I had to go over to my deck and just shake the foot off. They were inside my sock. And so I only got like 3 bites, though. 3 bites. And they didn't. I immediately put on the stuff, the anti-itch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no problem until 24 hours later when it starts actually itching.
Mm.
And the actual bites start swelling up. So I'm looking at my ankle right now, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But the first time, I'm so aware for fire ants, probably the first time in 15 or 20 years that I've gotten bit. I'm so...
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I was bit. I was probably when I was a kid, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
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 I scan constantly. It's like you're always scanning, looking for the fire ant mounds anywhere. Couldn't see it because it probably was a small fire ant mound that hadn't yet developed, but it was in my tall grass, and I stepped right. But I could feel the sinking. My foot sunk a little. That was a little bit too soft. I should have realized it and looked down and immediately, been pounding my sneaker on the ground. But
yeah.
They got me.
Mosquitoes, man, with all the humidity and the rain and everything we've had. Yesterday, I saw a couple that were big enough I could charge them rent. They're huge, and they're ready for battle. They are ready for battle. It was nonstop.
Well, what I always love about Texas summers is when you normally get to this time of the year, or August, and you have 105, 106, 107, 108. I think the high we've had here, 112, 113 the last 20 years, maybe. I remember when I first moved here, Labor Day weekend of 2000, I got up to 112. And we were, I know, we understand Phoenix, we understand that's, and Vegas, we understand that's nothing to you, but I remember we were golfing and carrying our golf bags in 112-degree heat.
Yeah.
And I remember we got to the 16th hole and said, can't do it any longer, and walked in under the shade of the trees. This was a tree-lined golf course. And walked in, couldn't even finish the last 2 holes. It was so dang hot.
Yeah.
But what happens is, at least in my area, all the bugs go away.
Right.
The bugs don't want to be out when it's 110.
No, in fact, in the heat of the day, the mosquitoes aren't a problem. But I have to get out there in the morning, and I bring a sword with me. I figure they have one, I should have one. Makes it easier.
But so far, I'm happy with the summer, and I'm like, all right, it's because people always ask me, I couldn't live in Dallas; it's too hot. Like, no, just for when you think about it, very short period of time. But you think about it here in North Texas from middle of September to middle of June. It's not bad at all.
Right. Yeah.
And this year it's extended all the way into July. Now it has been getting really humid, where I walked out the other day and I went, oh, God, okay, this sucks. But rarely do I do it. You live in Florida where you got that humidity. It's around a lot longer than the hot weather is here in Texas. And as I've always said, I go, there's 8, sometimes 9 months of totally moderate, temperate temperatures.
Yeah.
It's actually very, 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 very nice. And I just view it and say, okay, if it gets up to 105, 110, wake up in the morning, jump in the pool, hang out in the pool deck in the morning, and then you stay in the afternoon. I consider that my bizarro winter instead of the Buffalo winters I had to put up with.
Right, yeah.
Oh, and by the way, thanks to the number of people. I knew about the editorial cartoonist in the Buffalo News that was making fun of the people that died in the flash floods that made a bunch of news. And when I was there, when I worked in Buffalo, I had my go-arounds with the Buffalo News at that point. You know, they've just they're liberal to the point of insanity.
Yeah, a number of liberals now that they blame it on Trump. Bill Nye blaming it on climate change. We know the now former, I won't say former pediatrician, I guess she's still technically a pediatrician, but the one doctor in Texas, and she got fired from the clinic that she was at.
Oh, yeah.
For the thoughtless post on that whole thing. How in the world do you put your mind there? Well, again, that's how they think. My brain can't go there. I can't ever possibly imagine that kind of vile approach to social media. And they're proud of it. Yeah. Now, she came out after she was fired and issued an apology saying she posted it before she was aware of the missing people and the deaths. And she said, and she did say, it doesn't matter. Even so, it's still on me. But you did it in the first place.
Yeah. I have never.
How could you have that thought?
Well, it's like the wildfires when they happen in, like last year. When they happened last year, beginning of this year. Wow. That was in January when that happened. The thought even come in your. Now, we did talk about policies of not clearing brush.
Right.
And the policies of it. But
the water and everything else, we talked about that. That's a matter of policy, and it doesn't matter who's in power. It just turns out it's California, and Democrats have all the power there. And also the handling of it by Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass. It was just horrific.
Which is a legitimate thing to do. But when I first saw the wildfires, irrespective of whether people were injured or not, the first thing I felt is compassion. That has to be horrible.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's absolutely horrifying to think of it, and those thoughts never enter our head. That's the thing. Yeah. It wouldn't matter whether we knew people died or not. You would assume people are going to be devastated, homes are going to be destroyed, and in all likelihood, people are going to be injured and or killed, especially in a flash flood like this.
Right.
So it really doesn't, her excuse doesn't work for me.
No, it doesn't. I just don't know how in the world you could have that mindset. My brain just doesn't think that way.
No. 866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. I had mentioned earlier we had played the short clip from Harry Enten and CNN about the whole climate change and thing and where the polling on climate change and where people stand. I found the extended version here.
Okay.
So I want to make sure we play this. Here we go.
Yeah.
Are Americans afraid of climate change? And the answer is Americans aren't afraid of climate change. Climate activists have not successfully made the case to the American people. I want you to take a look here. Greatly worried about climate change. We have data going all the way back since 1989. Look at that. It was 35%. 2000, 40%. 2020, 46%. And 2025, 40%, which is the exact same percentage as back in 2000. Despite all of these horrible weather events the percentage of Americans who are greatly worried about climate change has stayed pretty gosh darn consistent, which kind of boggles the mind a little bit. Granted, everything that we see on our television screens, our computer screens, the hurricanes, tornadoes, the flooding, but yet greatly worried about climate change, 40% in 2025, the exact same percentage as back in 2000.
So why?
Why? It's because people are not worried that it's necessarily going to affect them. That's what's going on here. You'll be a natural disaster victim, often or sometimes worried. Look at this. In 2006, it was 38%. Look at where we are now in 2025. It's 32%. 38% to 32%. The number's actually gone down. The number's gone down in terms of the percentage of Americans who worried there'll be a natural disaster victim, such as a hurricane or a tornado.
What about people's thoughts or concerns about the future?
Okay, so right now we're looking at the present, right? What about going into the future? That's all this talk, maybe Miami might be underwater at some point, right? But yet when it comes to climate change effect on my home area, will be harder to stay. Look at this. All adults, it's just 17%. It's just 17%. The GOP is 6%. Independents is 6%. Even Democrats here, it's just 27% of Democrats who say that climate change will make it harder to stay in our area. And I think this is what's so important. This is across the aisle in terms of the percentage who say it will be harder to stay in their area. And that is the exact same thing that we see here when you'll be a natural disaster victim. Under 50% of Democrats, Republicans, and Independents believe that, in fact, they could be, or at least worry about the chance that they'd be a natural disaster victim.
Now, he's completely wrong as to the reasons why. When he said, for example, climate change activists have not made their case. Yes, they have. What do you mean they haven't made their case?
They've been making their case for decades.
Right. The public doesn't believe them. That's why.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know how Harry Enton, I don't know how old he is. Maybe he's not as old as us. He looks like he's in his 40s. But apparently he doesn't remember all the apocalyptic scenarios that the Democrats have thrown out that haven't come true. As you and I have said over and over again, when does the public finally say, you know something, you've said something's going to happen for the last 40 years and nothing like this has happened.
Right.
I don't believe you anymore.
That's it. You're crying wolf now. Right.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. So I thought it was important with the whole Texas flash flood disaster to bring up, where the left is looking and, there's Harry Enton, with all the weather we've been having, all the apocalyptic events, storms, and people realize we've always had storms.
Yeah.
We've always had flash floods.
Right.
They tend to believe, and I think, because you could see Harry Enton, you could tell he was and with all this going on, and they still, well, stop it. Your analysis was completely wrong. You can't look at this and say, well, it's just that the people don't recognize the seriousness of this. You have to look and say, well, no, for years, the Democrats have pounded on the fact that there's going to be not just bad thunderstorms, tornadoes, and hurricanes, because we always have those. But we should live on an earth where there's basically no weather, sunshine and light rain all the time.
Yeah.
As if that's what weather has ever been on this planet Earth.
Right.
Oh, I got to tell you this very quickly. I did see, I think it was a TV station out of Austin for the flash floods. They said, our climate crew is on this. Yeah. Not weather,
right?
Climate.
Yeah.
So apparently now climate has become weather.
Right.
Remember
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Remember how you couldn't do that? The liberals are always saying, do not combine. Well, it's like our climate crew, our climate division is on all of this. And I went, you mean your weather?
Yeah.
Like, no, our climate.
Right.
But, it's obvious. People sit around and they go, okay, we've been told that disaster is going to be striking. We were told, you've mentioned it many times, how by the year 2000, Washington was going to be underwater. You need to take a boat to work.
You're going to take a gondola to work. This was 1989 on Capitol Hill. You'll have to take a gondola to work by the year 2000 if you work in D.C. I don't know of any gondola services. They may have some, but it's not for commuting. Yeah.
Right. You would have Uber, Lyft, and then float.
Right. Exactly.
That would be the
right. Row.
Row.
Yeah.
Float, row, a gondola.
Yeah. It's,
you could rent them like, remember when all the cities were doing free bikes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the scooters and the little whatever little. I actually saw somebody on one the other day. The little transporter things. What are they called? The little skateboard looking things.
And, yeah.
And you rent those.
Yeah.
I saw somebody on one the other day, and I thought to myself, if somebody's going to be renting that every day, wouldn't it be just cheaper to buy one? Certainly, they can't be that expensive. Especially with e-bikes now, which are not cheap. You get you an e-bike, and, I mean, if you're going to do that, then do an e-bike, right? I would think.
I will tell you that I've got a couple of friends now that have bought e-bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you going to buy one? I thought about it. And they said, why haven't you? I said, because I'm not going anywhere with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not like I have every day where I'm going to work or wish to use it to work, and it can assist me on my way to work, because I know one person is doing, the other one just got it for the sake of getting an e-bike, and had a regular bike and said, well, it'll make it easier for me, but I'll still get exercise. For me, I would be, the only reason I ride the bike, I don't do. I want to ride occasionally when I first get on the bike, when the weather gets nice, when it's not cold out. I do flash back to my youth of riding the bike, but that passes real quick. I work out on the weights, I swim, and I ride the bike because I have to.
And it's ironic because
I don't like any of it.
When you were a kid, they didn't even have bikes. They weren't invented yet. They were just getting around to the wheel.
I had a unicycle. I wore that top hat that they on the unicycle, the huge unicycle thing.
Yeah.
And I do it everything because I have to, and hopefully it will help my golf. But I hate it. I hate resistance training. I hate riding the bike. It's interesting. Like I said, I do it in the morning, and with that gets to be a little bit neat because you don't know what's around the next corner.
Yeah, right.
At night. But anything to give me my mind any type of stimulation. But I'm to the point now where I'll be swimming probably by the end of August, beginning of September, on the weekends, a mile session. Well, that's 151 laps in my pool.
Mm-hmm.
My mind wasn't built for boring swimming or riding the bike. When I played so much basketball, and earlier in my youth, especially hockey, that was exercise, but that's not what it was about to me. It was about competition.
Mm-hmm.
And so the mind's thinking, how am I going to win this thing? Cycling is, and even though I live in there's an escarpment near me, which is looks like rolling hills and everything else. It's very, very nice. That wears very quickly on me. It's like riding.
Yeah, running for me was basically not thinking, clearing the mind. I mean, there were times when I was in the middle of my run,
I really felt like I could close my eyes. I was in such a zone.
Really?
I could close my eyes, especially in a light rain, 55 degrees. I felt like I could close my eyes and almost go to sleep.
Wow, that's excellent. Now I'm proud of every time I'm done. I'm like, all right. I feel better doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say the working on the machines, the resistance training is number one by far the worst. I hate that more than anything. I've put a small TV in the room because I'll do, the reps and then I'll walk out and not come back for 20 minutes. It's like you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to stick in the room. And for me, resistance training, if I do a light workout, takes an hour. But my normal resistance training takes like 2 hours because I do rest in between the reps to do it. And, it's got, everything, arms, legs, you name it. You're doing everything on it. Now, it's been tremendous for me. It's given me, the dexterity and strength that I want more than I've ever thought I could have at this age. But I hate every second of it. It's just so boring. And then the next thing would be swimming. Just, even though it's great on a hot day to do it, to jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do love, the one thing I can do is the pool basketball.
Yeah.
That I could do that for an hour, no problem. But doing the actual laps and swimming, that sucks. I hate it. Hate every moment of it.
Right.
But it's what you got to do, right?
Yeah. It's what they say. It's what RFK Jr. says.
I wasn't going to do it, and then Trump became president and put RFK into the office.
That's my pledge.
And that's my pledge, to keep myself physically fit, mentally awake.
I had given up.
And morally straight. Oh, wait a minute. That's from Boy Scouts. Sorry. That's it.
And now I'll flush for both. I'm going back to the Obama pledge.
Oh, yeah. I'll flush for both. Oh,
yeah.
Man. Jeez.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for some audio here?
All right.
We've talked about the Democratic Party, and we've had fun this week with Kami Mayor Mandami. And we had played earlier, I must have said Ken Norton. What's his name, the head of the DNC? Ken Martin, who said, Mandami, not that he agrees with him on everything, but we need to have a wide umbrella. And it's like, you're talking about an anti-Semite communist. Yeah. What the hell are you talking about? A pro-terrorist? Oh, we need them under the big umbrella. At least he's being honest, isn't he? You have to be part of the coalition that the Democratic Party must accept is a Jew hater. Yep. And we played that earlier.
Right.
Now, this is ex-Democratic Senator Doug Jones from Alabama on MSNBC.
All right.
No, this wasn't on MSNBC. I don't know what network it's on, but Mehdi Hassan, who used to be with MSNBC, is doing the interview. Here we go, about endorsing Mandami, because that's what they're talking about. Why hasn't Schumer done it? What about Jeffries?
Right. Yeah.
When are they going to endorse Mandami? Because why? Because a significant portion of the Democrat voter wishes the country to be a Jew-hating communist nation.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is.
When the left says they want to sit out elections because they don't like a centrist candidate who's up for the Democrats, they're told, vote blue no matter who. Vote for the lesser of two evils. Why isn't that the case for the centrists and moderates now that a leftist is the candidate for mayor of New York? How can Chuck Schumer and Kathy Hochul and Hakeem Jeffries still justify not endorsing Mamdani, who won fair and square and won big?
I think it's hard for them to not endorse. I really do. Look, one of the problems.
Hard for them. Sorry, just to clarify. Hard for them, as in you think it's wrong that they're not endorsing.
Yeah, look. I mean, he's the Democratic nominee. If you were a Democratic leader, it's hard to not endorse a Democratic nominee. I think. And look, I don't endorse a lot of what he says, but compared to Eric Adams, for God's sakes, yes. Okay, at least you've got somebody in the party that you can work with. The fact of the matter is, and you know this from your incredible experience with dealing with politicians, it doesn't matter how far you get elected on. That's not how you can govern.
Yes.
The mayor of New York's got a whole bunch of folks that he's got to deal with in order to get New York where he wants it to be. And that's going to take some ability to compromise. And if he does that, he can be successful. And that means moving a little bit off of some of these positions. If he doesn't do that, Mehdi, I don't think he will be successful. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt to see. And by the way, the other thing I don't really subscribe to, and I know my friends in New York, think that as goes New York, so goes the whole country. Not true. I mean, look, that everybody thinks that New York City has an outsized effect on the Democratic Party on America. It does not. Historically, it never has. So let's just figure out what we can do nationwide. Yeah. We've got a lot of big fish to fry, and the people in New York are going to make their decision.
Blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Now we know why you lost.
Yeah.
Alabama, Jones, a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. But this is a mentality. Well, if they got upset at they said you've got to support the centrist. Well, why don't we support a Jew-hating communist? We need to support a Jew-hating communist. Support the Jew-hating communist. Otherwise, you're not a Democrat. Am I missing the message here?
Well, no, because effectively what they're saying is we're going to show our tolerance by accepting the hate.
Yeah. I like the way you put that. We're going to show our tolerance and our ability to cross over and be a bigger tent by bringing in and being tolerant of a Jew-hating communist.
Right.
Yep. A pro-terrorist, Jew-hating communist will show that we are a tolerant people, a tolerant party. Mm-hmm. Just bizarre. 866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up, the latest on that raid of illegal immigrants working at that pot farm in California, and Gavin Newsom going after Trump. We'll tell you what that was about. He just got blasted on X. Just absolutely eviscerated.
Yep.
Newsom did. We'll get to that and more on the way.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You know, we did it already once this week, played something from TikTok from a liberal, and just went, man, they can't connect the dots on anything.
Right.
Want to hear another one?
Okay.
right, this is a woman who's going crazy, saying that basically conservatives, Republicans are pro-life. Well, I'll let her explain it to you in her own way.
All right.
They're pro-life until. All right, here we go.
You're pro-life until it comes to alligator Alcatraz. You're pro-life until it comes to alligator Alcatraz. They're not pro-life! Ah!
You know, they make decaffeinated. I hear it's horrible, but it might be worth less stress in your life to drink it.
This is one of the things we've talked about is not connecting the dots in a coherent way. And that's what's being done here. There is no connecting the dots there.
You know, every year around Earth Day, we play the video or we play the audio from the video of the Earth First.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they're crying and screaming over the trees and the rocks. And the more we get, the further we get away from that, the more sane those people at Earth First look.
Everything is relative.
It really is. And our audience knows, I mean, if you've been around for any amount of time, I think we played it. We played it back in April around.
Yeah, we did play it this year.
We did.
Yeah, we did play it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we also played the Beavis and Butthead version.
Yes, we played both. Yeah.
Yeah. But the more you see these liberals of TikTok, which, by the way, is a great account to follow on X, because they play all of these angry and insane liberals. You know, part of me, quite honestly, is thinking that not every single one of that it's possible that not every single one of them is insane, and they're just kind of doing this in order to gain, notoriety, to get the clicks, to get that monetized. But then I'm thinking, well, but if that were the case, they've got to, because it's not like they're disguising themselves, they're showing their face. And you got to go out in public and you got to, talk to your friends and everything else. Your friends are following you on TikTok. So that comes full circle around to no, this is who they are. Well, you would think maybe one in the crowd, would kind of take not really a Babylon Bee approach, but just kind of make fun of the liberals by pretending to be one of them, which isn't, what they do at the Babylon Bee, but it's kind of, you're doing it tongue in cheek, but you're not making it so obvious. But then I think, again, your friends are following you. Somebody would let that cat out of the bag at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be, this is a friend of mine, and they're just yanking your chain. It's not real. They don't actually act this way. It's quite the opposite. They're not. This is who they are. Their mind is bent in a way that is, and you hear the anger here. I mean, the screaming.
Yeah.
Not that I don't get angry, not that I don't get frustrated and passionate, but man, they seem to be living in that space all the time.
Yeah,
the hatred and the anger.
Yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that one because I don't know what dots she's attempting to connect.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is anybody in the right advocating killing illegal immigrants?
No.
No, I don't.
No.
None of it makes sense. You had Gavin Newsom post the video. It says, kids running from tear gas, crying on the phone because their mother was taken from the fields. Trump calls me new scum, but he's the real scum. Well, the tear gas was fired because, as we all know, the physical confrontation with the people that were there with law enforcement. They weren't firing tear gas at kids.
No.
And then, as we found out through Bill Maloogian, 10 children were found to be there, including 8 unaccompanied minors who had no parents there at all. And part of the investigation is into child labor laws.
Yeah.
And they had a criminal warrant to go in there to do that. Now, Gavin Newsom writes that, gets absolutely blasted on X. First one, not too late to delete this, Next one, why are the children working on a weed farm, Gavin? Wow. Are you going to say anything about the protesters shooting at federal agents? You saw that one where the guy turned around, looked like he had a gun. Or you're just going to ignore that because that does not fit your narrative. Next one. Why are you using child labor to grow illegal drugs?
Yeah.
And it just, you don't see people defending them. Now, we all know that the left, there's more people on the left now. The politicians on the left have taken to it than the leftist media has. But people really, one of the reasons that J.D. Vance went on Blue Sky is because he knew he would, the liberals went nuts. The liberals, and Maureen Dowd sort of said this a couple of years ago when she said, when things go bad, they just shut up. They actually don't want to argue with anybody. They don't want to debate or prove their point with anyone.
Right.
They simply want to talk to people that have the same opinion that they have.
Yeah.
That they have no interest in saying, well, yeah, I've got confidence that I can defend what I believe. But it's getting to the point of gibberish. Everything's just gibberish from the left. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's, again, a contest of who's loudest and who is the angriest. Is it not?
That's the
over and over again.
The virtue signaling is not anymore you even making sense.
No.
About the issue that you're promoting. The virtue signaling now seems to be just anger over an opinion, which is just gibberish. Doesn't make any sense.
Anger multiplied by the decibels.
Yeah.
Loud and angry. That's your virtue signaling. You couldn't possibly be as angry as I am, and you can't care as much as I do because I'm louder and angrier than you are.
And I just go down, every one. Why are you allowing small children to work on a drug farm? Can you explain why children were present at a grow operation?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why were kids there? Do children normally work in weed fields in California? Do the little kids smoke the weed on the illegal weed farm, or are they just forced to harvest it? It's just one after another, after another, after another, after another. And that's Newsom's post.
Yeah, right.
And we know now, the regular liberal doesn't want to be on X. They don't want to have, and you see the people on the right, Republicans, they want the debate on everything. And the only place you're actually seeing any type of debate, and they're losing big time, would probably be on CNN.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but they can't even hold it there. Wow. They get it handed to them everywhere they go. Except, I guess, MSNBC. Are they still around? They still on the air?
You mean that, as Rachel Maddow implied, that racist organization?
Yeah, right.
Remember when they fired Joy Reid?
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, Rachel Maddow is calling out her own company for being racist.
Right.
You got to love that one, huh?
Yeah. Well, the other night, Jon Stewart had, what's his name, Croft, on from 60 Minutes. They were talking about the settlement, the Trump settlement. You know, and CBS and Paramount. Paramount's isn't it still the parent company? It was at one time. And I'm thinking to myself, is this another case of liberals calling out their own real estate, the owners of their own real estate once again?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, it's it really is, again, fascinating to see it, because think about this. Think about what we've witnessed just in the last couple of weeks. Now, multiply that by essentially, I don't know, what do we got here? 24 more weeks, whatever it is, until we start seeing real primary ads and campaigns coming together. And then the midterm season itself. What do they start putting up there as a party? What's the common theme they start floating? Now, obviously, you go after Trump on, a number of things, but where is it that they can tell the truth and promote something and get a win? I haven't seen them do that in a long time.
I really don't know. I don't. The only thing, if the depends on what the GDP ends up being, the only thing is economics.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't improve the economics. They would just be able to criticize something.
Right.
As we said yesterday, when we looked at, all the things involving the economy right now, and if you look at the average, actually, if you go to the top, the top point of whether it's the Atlanta Fed, which is the top point at 2.6 for the second quarter, and you look at the first quarter, you're talking about 1% growth, rate of growth.
Mm-hmm.
You had a lot greater growth in 2024.
Yeah.
If it doesn't improve in 2025, that will be used against Trump.
Right.
And they care about the GDP, because when the Atlanta Fed was at 4.6, they were promoting that the big, beautiful bill was going to get rid of the deficit completely, because look at the great growth we're having. And you and I said, there isn't 4.6% growth. Where are they getting that from?
Right.
And we had to look for it. Well, let's go to the Atlanta Fed. What are they saying? Is that a prediction? Was there an early number out? And that was a prediction from the Atlanta Fed. And then they've dropped it down to 2.6 now. So that's dropped over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, at that point, they're not mentioning it, because you always accentuate the positive.
Right.
But that's really the only thing. But the economy really isn't going to be better if this Democratic Party, if the Mamdani Party, what they're becoming, takes over.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't know where they go. It's when you see, and if you haven't heard it, we'll repeat it, because to me it's one of the stories of the week, and that's the Axios story, because I think that is actually one of the top political stories about where the political parties are going, where the Democratic Party is going. I think that story on Axios could be considered the political story of the year, because it came out of nowhere. And you asked the question, you said, why did they do this story? And this is Axios, the liberal outlet.
How did it come to be that 9 Democrats actually talked to Axios? Did Axios go to them? Did they as a group call Axios?
Right. Well, they contacted more than 9. It was dozens, but only they contacted, but they either used 9 of them or only 9 responded. I'm still not sure from the article how it happened. They said they contacted a couple of dozen.
Okay.
So maybe only 9 responded, and out of the 9, 8 would only do so if they got anonymity.
If 8 out of the 9 wanted full anonymity, then how many of the others who didn't respond didn't want to talk at all?
Didn't want to talk. Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same thing. They're hearing the same thing. Yeah. Did they say they talked to anybody who said, I didn't see it anywhere.
No, I didn't see it in the article.
That said the opposite, where, we talked to some Democrats who said that's not going on in our district. I didn't see that anywhere.
No, didn't see that. And so you can't look at that story and say, well, it's a Republican. You can't do that now with Axios.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any Democrat denying it. You notice how no Democrats talked about that at all?
Yeah, no, it was, I think, earlier this week, I said, I haven't heard anybody come out and deny this.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at JJ Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on speed and space management. When driving, you need to manage the space around your vehicle so that there's enough space to allow you to adjust when traffic conditions change. The space ahead of your vehicle is the most important and one of the easiest to monitor and adjust as needed. One rule of thumb is to allow at least 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length at speeds below 40 miles per hour. At greater speeds, add an additional second. It's impossible to keep other drivers from tailgating you, but there are some things you can do to make it safer, such as increasing your following distance, avoiding quick lane changes, and slowing down. There are also several things you should do to ensure that there is plenty of space between the side of your vehicle and other vehicles. Don't hug the center line, avoid hugging the right side of the road, and avoid traveling alongside other vehicles in strong winds, especially crosswinds. This tip was brought to you by JJ Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Coming up on the bottom of the hour, the Washington Post CEO urges staffers who do not feel aligned with the paper's new direction to take a buyout. We'll tell you about the Canadian police official that warns that traditional values may be a sign of a person becoming an extremist. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And I love this one. The co-founder of a band, One Republic, announces run for the California lieutenant governor to fight back against Trump.
Okay.
And we will highlight that story that came out that I still believe is one of the political stories of the year, where the Democrat congressman telling Axios, the lefty publication website, what their voters are telling them. They want blood. Really an amazing story.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. We've been talking about the craziness of liberalism, everything we've seen this week. We've played also a couple of TikTok videos from liberals just losing it. Let's go to Bob in Baltimore about that. Bob, welcome. You're on Red Eye Radio. Hi, Bob.
Yeah, good morning, and good to be with you and the listeners. And you men are both very good at bringing to light what I see as the actions and behavior of the liberals and Democrats and leftists, what I would call liberal behavior and liberal psychology, and what it is, as you reveal in certain instances and items in the news, what it is and how these people and what it is that makes them tick. And one of the things that I might add to that is that their behavior is detrimental to our health, our social and moral, our political and economic health, but it's also bad for our mental and physical health. One of the first things that I had heard from someone who is a very much an expert in holistic and preventive medicine, a man named Gary Null, some good years back, that in addition to things that keep us healthy, diet, nutrition, exercise, rest, the first thing that he mentioned was to have a good outlook. Don't keep things inside of you that weigh you down, he said, and have a spiritual component in your life to help keep you that way. And he said the reason for that is that there's a strong connection between the mind and the body. And I had seen something much more recently where there are numerous diseases that are associated with anxiety and stress. And I think what the Democrats and the leftists and the radicals do, men, is that they, with their constant hostility and anger, are really causing themselves, and I think others with them, a good deal of physical damage, mental health, and the like, and to the extreme extent, I think that their influence is causing things that are even much more worse, this terrible crime and violence. So it's a very bad situation. But I think if the general public sees that their constant hostility, their constant negativity, it is just something that affects all of us, or can, we'll all be much more wary and avoiding of that. And I think not just not to avoid the negative, but I think we'll want to look on the positive side and be constructive, be active, be thoughtful, be respectful, and appreciative, and the little phrase "attitude of gratitude" is not just something that's nice sounding. There's some significant research, again, that shows how important that can be. That we show appreciation for one another. So that's my thought. And you men are very good at something like this, at bringing these things out. So I thought maybe you might brush up, do a little research, and along with that, help to keep us on our toes, so that we're acting in a positive way, and then we can see the negative. But we want to be positive first.
Well, sure, and I think, and thank you, Bob, for the call and the kind words. We greatly appreciate it. I think our experience really, if you culminate it, and we've been next week 20 years together. We've been on the air, Gary and I, as a team, which is rare in our business, and we're very proud of that. But as we bring all of our thoughts together from that 20 years and probably beyond that as individuals and in this talk radio realm, we have talked about and covered extensively that psychology on the left and what the motivators are, the fear motivators. When you call somebody Hitler, what are you telling them? We've covered this recently a number of times over the last, several years especially, but it as they do it, we pointed out every single time that if you're saying that not only is this person capable of killing millions, that's what you're saying. When you're saying Hitler, you're saying that Trump or whoever you're calling Hitler is capable of killing millions, but not only that, that is their goal to do that. You're putting that fear in the minds of other individuals. That fear is what creates that negative cycle, and that all of a sudden you see them and they go into chaos or panic mode, which is why their mind works that way, because they've been indoctrinated for many, 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 many years and told they can't do anything on their own, that only a government can help you, that you can't figure out life. You're going to have to wait for somebody else to help you. So there is no help. You're not capable of doing anything about it. And on the other side, the opposition is Hitler, who, again, by default, if you're saying that about somebody, then their goal would be to kill millions of people. They lie repeatedly and tell you and tell people. When we talked about Greta earlier, one thing that we've talked about in the past regarding Greta is that's a learned behavior. When she was talking about, and her friends were talking about being in classrooms and it's not worth being here because we're not going to be around in a few years because the earth is going to be gone. When you tell young people that repeatedly, over and over and over, you build that fear. That fear is a great motivator, and that's what leads to a large extent that negativity that you point out there, Bob.
I'm glad you brought that up because, and I agree with Bob completely. When we get on the air and we give our opinions each and every day, and we get passionate about it, but the base of both of us is we are extremely grateful, because he talked about being grateful, and there's a lot of talk about that now. The people that are grateful when they, no matter what, because I was grateful when I had nothing. I was grateful for freedom. And I've often talked about the time, and it goes back to 1984 when I was going across the country for a job. I was working, as I've mentioned before, I was living in Navarre, Florida, working in the Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach area in radio, and ended up having to go to Marshall, Texas, small town, middle of nowhere. It's from where I normally have come from, where I've come from big metropolitan areas. Even when I lived in Buffalo, Buffalo's the end of a big metropolitan area that stretches through southern Ontario all the way to Toronto. People think Buffalo's in the middle of nowhere, and it's not. It's actually the bottom end of a huge megalopolis. Most of it is Canada, though. And so for me, I'll never forget coming out of Jackson, Mississippi, and it would have been an I-20. I remember coming out of Jackson, Mississippi. I had my credit card. I had a $1,000 credit line on it, and I had nothing on it because I was a bill collector. I had my first month's rent paid, maybe a couple of $100s. And I remember thinking to everything I owned was in my vehicle. I had nothing else except was in my vehicle. And I was going to the apartment that I had, paid the first month rent on, where I moved out 4 months later because it was full of cockroaches and fire ants.
Yeah.
I was the happiest SOB alive. I was so grateful. And adventure. I had no contract. I could have shown up there. They could have said, "You're gone." Could have been in the middle of Texas. Didn't care. All I knew was I was free. I didn't have debt. I was taught a ton of great lessons from my parents. I was an optimist. I thought I could do things. I didn't care what anybody else said. And I was extremely grateful at that point in my life, in my 20s, to live in a country like this where somebody would actually hire me to go on the radio and talk. That blew my mind. Even though it was music radio, it was still the same thing. Somebody actually had money and said, "We'll pay you to be on our radio station to entertain people." What, are you out of your mind? Are you people crazy? Oh, no, great decision. I can do it. But you just mentioned it with Greta. We remember when she and a bunch of the young women were at the White House, and they said, "Well, what are you going to be taking in college?" And the one girl responded, it wasn't Greta. She said, "We don't care about college. We sit in our classes going, what are we doing here? We're not going to be around in 10 years. The Democrats teach hopelessness.
Right.
The whole thing with Bernie Sanders, the one thing that came out of Occupy Wall Street was Bernie saying and convincing young people that your lot in life sucks and you can't make it because of billionaires.
Exactly.
It's always somebody else's fault.
Right.
They teach hopelessness to people, to children, and they do it over and over again. One of the reasons that the left went crazy about the whole DeSantis thing and Disney and the radical transgender movement is because the left wanted to indoctrinate. They knew that if kids had an opportunity to grow at all and learn at all, they would understand that a man cannot be a woman because a man says so.
Right.
So their whole goal was to get them in infancy and to brainwash them or attempt to brainwash them on an idea that no one would buy if they had any type of education in science whatsoever. And so this is actually a calculated thing on the left. I was reading something that said, don't think that the left is gone. And, they haven't crumbled. They haven't fractured.
Right.
There may be different, different sides on some minor opinions, but the Democrats, as you have seen over these years, even with the Mondami thing, they are still moving way left, way left, way left. And the story in Axios shows that it's not just the politicians anymore. It's not from the top coming down, from the top down, brainwashing people. Now it's from the bottom up, as the Axios story showed, from these Congress people that are Democrat liberals that are afraid to give their name to Axios, as they say, basically, our voters are crazy. Our voters want blood. Well, what the hell you think you've been teaching them? What do you think your rhetoric, as you've said, when you sit there over and over again and say somebody is Hitler, somebody is Hitler, somebody is a fascist? Whoopi was saying it the other day. Did you see it was back on X again? Talking about how Trump is just going to kidnap people and kill people and do everything else.
Right.
Making up stuff as they go along. Well, some people, not all, but a lot of people in the population will pick up on that and believe it. And if you indoctrinate them from a young enough age, we have seen how societies can become complete and total filthy rot inside.
Yes.
And that's what they want.
Well, and that fear is a motivator. That fear is a motivator to a different extent with the person who gets that fear instilled into them through this indoctrination. But, I would also add, when we talk about individuals respecting each other and having a society that is, should be the norm, it starts with valuing life. And on the left, they don't value life. And while this isn't a conversation about abortion, everything begins and ends with respecting life. When you respect life, you respect that person, what they've been through, even if you don't know them. You may disagree with them, but you'll drop everything to help them if they need it. In my heart of hearts, I still believe that's us at our core. But more and more, I see the products of the left coming to the surface. And they do have true hatred in their heart, and they truly are out for blood. When you don't value life at the beginning, it should be no surprise that they so easily would get involved in a group that was hell-bent 1 week ago today of killing ICE agents and law enforcement officials in Alvarado, Texas. That's how that happens. Zero value for life.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today because our show ends in an hour, and after our show ends, just a couple minutes later, we have our podcast ready. Our podcast is a recording of all the hours of the show, so if you miss some of the show and you want to hear it, well, you can listen to our Red Eye Radio app. It's so simple. Just download it. Only takes seconds to do so. And if for some reason you can't listen to one of our great radio stations overnight, and that's our preferred way because we thank all of our great affiliates out there. We do stream all 5 hours live on our Red Eye Radio app. To the last caller, and we'll talk more about it coming up following the top of the hour. We talk about liberalism and how it preaches hopelessness. Mm-hmm. That's the entire thing about the victim-oppressor narrative that they have. Right. We're the ones, you're a victim, and we're here to support you because you're a victim. You're a victim because of your race. You're a victim because of your sex. You're a victim because of the class, your economic class. You're a victim across the board. When you're a victim, what they're telling you is you're hopeless unless somebody else can take care of you.
Right.
And we have seen that. We've seen it with the entire, right now with Medicaid for able-bodied people.
Right.
We see it right there where the Democrats, well, no, you've got to do it. You've got to do it.
Right.
The whole work. You can't have work requirements for able-bodied people.
Yeah, how dare you?
They're victims. They're hopeless.
Right.
They need this.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.